All right, Susan, made some really good progress on your bike. It's time to make a few decisions, so I wanted to show you a few things. I am happy to figure this all out, but it's your bike, and if you want to weigh in with your opinion on some of these things, feel free. So, first of all, I have rebuilt the wheels on this bike, and I think they look amazing. I put red spoke nipples in. Brand new, very high quality rims, brand new spokes. So those are super clean. And I thought that red looked nice up against the green frame. Probably the biggest decision we need to make is around the handlebars. So these are the original handlebars, and I wanted to show you that they're just kind of crusty. I actually cleaned this side up, which looks a little bit better, but still kind of rusty. So I don't know how you feel about that. I've got a couple other options here, or we can look for some new handlebars. One of the challenges is with these old Raleighs, they had proprietary dimensions on a lot of their stuff. So if we replace these handlebars, we also have to replace the stem, which is kind of a shame because that's the original stem, and it's stamped Raleigh, and the stem is in really good condition. So maybe you want to keep these. There's something to be said for having a little bit of rust and crust on a bike so that it's not really attractive to thieves. So that's going to be something for you to decide. So here are the brake levers that I bought. These are brand new brake levers that are going to look super nice. And I lucked out. They actually have the same color red accent as the spoke nipples. So I wanted to show you that. And then for grips, I have a couple different options. I have these brown grips. These are Vans, so that's actually supposed to be the same thing that's on the sole of a Van sneaker, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe not. I don't know. But I'm not sure that brown doesn't quite match your leather seat. So this is what I'm leaning towards, just some standard black grips, which I think will look really nice. The other thought is could potentially find some leather grips that actually match the seat. Something to think about. And these are the same handlebars. These are the original handlebars flipped upside down. So flipped upside down, I think that's called mustache style. Not really sure what the benefit is, but I think it looks kind of cool flipped upside down. I will say one thing about this style handlebars, whether they're right side up or upside down, they're very narrow, which is good for a city bike, right? So if you're dodging in between parked cars and stuff, the distance between the two is very narrow, so not a whole lot of chance of scraping up a parked car in the city. Here's another option that I actually think looks pretty cool. So BMX style handlebars. This is very much in fashion now, is to take an old bike and put BMX style handlebars. Gives you a more upright seating position. It looks pretty cool. Clearly that blue doesn't go. I could paint that black if we wanted to do this. The only real downside is these are a lot wider than the original handlebars. I'll just give you an idea of how much wider they are, right? There's the original versus the BMX style. And those are small BMX bars too. Here's another option from my pile of used parts. I don't know. I think this kind of is unique looking. I don't know what those are called. If you like drop handlebars, those would work, and I think probably look appropriate. Flat bars from an old mountain bike. Those actually don't look bad. Those are not the right brake levers, but I'd switch those out. So I think I'm leaning towards the original handlebars. The only thing I don't like is how they're kind of rusty. Um, I could possibly spray paint these. If you're okay with them being rusty, we could leave them as they are. Or I could search. I might be able to get lucky and find an old pair that will fit. I don't mind doing that. Might be another thing where you get them from eBay and they ship from overseas, but it's probably not impossible to find. The other thing I wanted to point out, and I'm going to do a longer video when this bike is done because there's a lot of cool things about this bike that I want to document. But there's something unusual about the front wheels on these bikes, and I won't get into it, but they have to be installed a certain way. So if you were to flip this wheel around and install it backwards, it could actually cause some issues, and it's not very obvious. It's just an odd thing that Raleigh did on these old bikes that, you know, an average person wouldn't be aware of. So the one solution that I ran into online is they make a solid bike tire, a tubeless tire that will never go flat. And amazingly, they actually make the right size for this bike. These are kind of odd size wheels to begin with. So it's about $100 for a set, where these tires are probably $50. So it would probably just add $50 to the total build. And supposedly they get really great reviews and the tire will never go flat. And the reason that interests me is if this tire never goes flat, nobody's ever gonna have to take this front wheel off. Therefore, nobody's ever gonna install it wrong. So I think there might actually be a nice benefit to that. That's something I'm kind of debating right now. And again, if you never have flat tires, you might not even need this pouch on the back. Typically, somebody would put, you know, their spare inner tube and their tools to change tires and an air pump. It might just be one less thing on the bike. Or maybe you want to keep this because you want to put some other stuff in there. That's fine too. One other quick thing I wanted to point out. The seat post is a little bit corroded too. It doesn't bother me. It's not really an issue other than cosmetic. But if that bothers you, I could clearly source a new seat post. It's just that all these little things start to add up, right? $20 here, $20 there, $30 here, $30 there. The next thing you know, you've added a few $100s to the bike. Again, sometimes there's a benefit to a bike having a little bit of rust on it so it doesn't stick out super shiny for to tempt thieves. And then the one last thing to think about are these fenders that are a match other than the color. They came off your cousin Christy's bike. I personally don't like fenders, which is why I have a pile of old fenders because I'm constantly ripping them off bikes. But if you wanted these, they're absolutely yours. Just let me know. I can put them on. If you think you're going to ride in the rain and you want fenders, they are original and they're actually pretty cool looking. And then the chain guard, I still need to polish that up, but I think that absolutely needs to stay on. Raleigh Sports, that's just too cool. The reason I don't like fenders is I'm constantly taking these bikes and flipping them up on the back wheel to make it easy to maneuver around the garage. And if you have a fender on the back wheel, you cannot flip the bike up and wheel it around on its back wheel. That is my personal issue with fenders. So just let me know what you think. Probably just need a few more weeks. I got a couple parts still coming in the mail. But this thing should be ready to go definitely by spring. Hope you're doing well.